Studio Tamil. Subscribe now.
இதெல்லாம் சாப்பிடக்கூடாது.
அட இந்த கரை ஆழமா உள்ள போயிடுச்சே.
பிங்குவை கொஞ்சம் பாத்துக்குங்க. Hello. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are about to begin, kindly switch off your mobile phones to avoid interruption. Thank you for your kind cooperation. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Hema Narayanan from Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam team of SCSVMV, welcoming you all on behalf of Sri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Vishwa Mahavidyalaya. The moment is special for us, and we all have gathered here for the day to make it more significant. An idea sparkled, culminating in this vision of our patrons, the Acharyas of Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham, years before. Their vision has bloomed, and today we see the vision of our patrons being realized, empowering the youth through education in Veda, Vidya, and Vaidya as the first deemed university in the state of Tamil Nadu. We are making leaps to realize a dream to create a universal learning space, prioritizing on the ideology of Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam by following the lofty ideal of caring for everyone and considering all living beings on earth as one family. Gracious God, thank you for the gift of today. We come to you asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this day. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Give us the strength to surrender ourselves to thy will with love. Let me invite Ms. Kalpavalli, the student from the Department of Sanskrit and Indian Culture, for the invocation. Let us all rise for the prayer.
सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् अपारकरुणासिन्धुं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणं श्रीचन्द्रशेखरगुरुं प्रणमामि मुदान्वहम् परित्यज्य मौनं वटाधस्थितिं च व्रजन् भारतस्य प्रदेशात् प्रदेशम् मधुस्यन्ति वाचा जनान् धर्ममार्गे नयन् श्रीजयेन्द्रो गुरुर्भाति चित्ते नमामः शङ्करान् वाक्य विजयेन्द्र सरस्वतीं श्रीगुरुं शिष्टमार्गानुनेतारं सन्मतिप्रदम्
Thanks, Kalpavalli, for the soulful rendition. As a mark of tribute to Bharata Mata, an embodiment of knowledge who is adored by the whole world, let me invite Team Ayurveda to tune our nerves in patriotic fervor. Check.
Check, check.
नमो 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 నమో 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 నమో
నమో నమో భారతాంబే సారస్వత శరీరిణి నమోస్తు జగతాం వందే బ్రహ్మ విద్యా ప్రకాశిని నమో నమో భారతాంబే కిరీటిని గంగాద్యా సరిత సర్వస్తన్యం తే విశ్వపావని నమో 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 భారతాంబే నమో నమో భారతాంబే
నమో 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 భారతాంబే నమో నమో తకృతదీం తదీం 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 తమ తకృతదీం తదీం 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 తకృతదీం తదీం 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 తమ తకృతదీం తదీం 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 గమపనీని
మగ మగ గ గ
గమపనీని
మగ గప మప గమ సగ నిగ సగ ని స
పసని పసని పని పమ పసని పని పమగ నమో నమో భారతాంబే భదరీ షండమండితే తీర్థి కుర్వంతి లోకాంస్తే తీర్థభూత మునీశ్వర నమో నమో భారతాంబే వింధ్యతుంగస్తనాయితే సముద్రవసనే దేవి సఖ్యమాలా విరాజితే నమో 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 భారతాంబే నమో నమో
నమో నమో భారతాంబే ముక్తి కేదార రూపిణి జ్ఞాన బీజాకరే పూర్ణే ఋషీంద్రతతి సేవితే నమో నమో భారతాంబే సర్వ విద్యా విలాసిని గౌడమైతిలకాంపిల్యా ద్రవిడాది శరీరిణి నమో 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 భారతాంబే నమో నమో భారతాంబే
నమో
నమో నమో
నమో నమో భారతాంబే నమో నమో తకృతదీం తదీం
తదీం తదీం తన తకృతదీం తదీం 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 తకృతదీం తదీం 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 తన తకృతదీం తదీం తదీం తదీం
గమపనీని
మగ మగ గ గ
గమపనీని
ని స మగ గప మప గమ సగ నిగ సగ ని స పసని ప పసని పని పమ పసని పని పమ మగ
నమో నమో భారతాంబే సర్వతీర్థస్వరూపిణి కాశ్యాయి కాశసే మాత త్వన్ని సర్వప్రకాశిక నమో నమో భారతాంబే గురుస్త్వం జగతాం పర వేద వేదాంత గంభీరే నిర్వాణ సుఖదాయిని నమో 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 భారతాంబే నమో నమో
భారతాంబే
నమో 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 నమో
మబని బమని ని బమబని బమని బని మని బబు మగ బమ బగ మగ గమ పని మా పని విగ మగ సో
నమో నమో థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Thanks Rakshita, Aditya, Ashwita, Shraddha and Suresh Kumar on tabla. for the wonderful rendition of the song written by Acharya Nochur Sri Venkatraman in Rag Jog. I extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Ajay Kumar IAS, former Defense Secretary, who spearheaded the initiatives to help India achieve self-reliance in the field of defense and defense production and facilitated innovation surge for defense excellence. May I invite our Vice Chancellor, Professor S.V. Raghavan, to do the honors to our chief guest. Thank you, sir. Digital learning today is where smartphones were a decade ago. We can see new possibilities in front of us thanks to the architect of India's National Knowledge Network, who enabled international interconnections to USA, Europe, and Singapore. He is an experienced chief architect with a demonstrated history of working in the computer networking industry, a strong engineering professional with a Doctor of Philosophy focused on large-scale system design and software-defined networks from IIT Madras. As a scientific secretary to the Government of India, he played a key role in defining the cybersecurity architecture for India and administered the national effort in understanding the science behind Ayurveda. He designed an integrated digital infrastructure for the state of Tamil Nadu, and now he is with us, charting out our journey of transformation and steering our institution to scale new heights. He is none other than our captain, Professor Dr. S.V. Raghavan, who inspires us to dream more, do more, learn more, and become more to strengthen the roots of education. He is a man of excellence who believes that every time an individual dives into the woods, leaving the beaten track, he is certain to find something that one has never seen before. He encourages and allows us to explore new dimensions in academics, administration, and research. Let me invite Professor Dr. S.V. Raghavan, our versatile Vice Chancellor, to offer words of welcome and deliver the presidential address. Please, sir.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me here for the presidential address. And Professor Hema, thank you for the nice introduction. Let me first of all welcome on behalf of all of you, Dr. Ajay Kumar IAS, to our campus. Even though I know him for perhaps 15 years, and you have worked closely on many things, you don't stop amazing how a person of his background, education, can scale to such heights to become the Defense Secretary of the largest democracy in this world. Sir, I would like to formally tell you about our university so that you have a well-rounded picture, what they call as 360-degree view of what it means to be a deemed university in this complex world. Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Ajay Kumar ji, respected Empowered Committee members, deans, registrar, members of the Academic Council, heads of departments, fellow faculty colleagues, staff of this great institution, ladies and gentlemen. Pranams to Pujya Sri Shankaracharya Swamiji Maharaj of this great Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham, Guru Bhyo Namaha. I deem it a great honor and privilege to introduce our honorable chief guest, Dr. Ajay Kumar, who distinguished himself in the Indian Administrative Service in several ways. More about Dr. Ajay Kumar after I present a graphic description of SCSVMV today for your recap and for the benefit of our distinguished guest. Sir, I have now completed 3 years and 3 months since I assumed office as Vice Chancellor. Starting as a novice in administering universities, I learnt a lot with the help of my colleagues at the apex level of administration who opened my eyes to see the potential of this great institution. The potential to generate talents that would lead the country's governance, administration, scientific research, cultural restoration, and the like. Honestly speaking, sir, this university, SCSVMV, is a gold mine. It's indeed an exhilarating experience, understanding the potential of this great institution. The divine blessings of the three Swamijis who demonstrated to the whole world the transition from spiritualization, socialization, and globalization is guiding us constantly, making us remember that we are all under the motherly fold of Periyava. In the past, I had the opportunity to share my thoughts on 4 occasions with my fraternity here, which are called Your VC Speaks. The subject matter discussed in those 4 talks were on excellence, challenges and opportunities, the road ahead, and our journey together. In SCSVMV, our consistent approach is to align all random vectors with phenomenal energy to create a powerful university that is coherent. My job is to try continuously. Having said that today, I wish to focus on presenting to you, sir, SCSVMV today. SCSVMV is a universal learning space. The teachers and students are disciplined, dedicated, passionate, strong, flexible, and resolute. Disciplined in every aspect of behavior, dedicated in all their actions, strong in the resolve to maintain highest quality and standards in all their endeavors, passionate in everything that they set out to do, flexible while cooperating for a larger cause, and resolute in enriching SCSVMV as a universal learning space. An ideal universal learning space should have no limitations. But being part of a regulatory system and growing organically as is feasible, one must take cognizance of the environmental limitations. For example, a university should allow freedom and flexibility for every learner. SCSVMV as a university provides learning opportunities that helps the student to pursue their passion by providing flexible academic ambience through curriculum design. Besides taking cognizance of the multidisciplinary world around us, we approach curriculum design with a flexible and liberal attitude. In this context, NEP 2020, adopted by the Cabinet and the nation in 2022, offers immense flexibility in realizing our dreams. For any university, financial prudence is the key to success where the revenue streams are extremely limited. While our ambition is nurtured by opportunity space provided by NEP 2020, the ground reality in terms of financial resources available present an formidable challenge and test our ability to manage frugal expenditure into revenue-generating assets. Our response from all of us, one response from all of us could be that each one of us learn to compute ourselves the resources that we consume from the system and the resources we generate for the system. While we do so, we strive to ensure that we return in whatever form an additional 20% to the resources consumed. That action of all SCSVMVNs will ensure stability of the system and create a sustainable future for ourselves. Medical sciences say that if one eats, consumes more energy than absolutely necessary and does no work, expend energy, one's life will be shortened. Sir, for a marathon runner like you, I don't have to emphasize the importance of our approach towards resource usage. In SCSVMV, we firmly believe that creating a flexible academic ambience that can be personalized by every student is the key, ensuring the coexistence of contemporary thinking, science, technology, tradition, culture, values, and Vedic understanding in form and format is our duty. Contributing towards making a vibrant physical and academic ambience is an integral part of our existence. The leaders of transformation are Sri Markandan Ramakrishnan, the financial advisor and the member of the Empowered Committee in the Office of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Subramaniam Balaji, former Dean, who left us on the 15th of August last year for personal reasons, and a member of the Empowered Committee at that time, and Professor Gopalaswamy Sriram, Dean of Engineering and Technology, and a member of the Empowered Committee in the Office of the Vice Chancellor. They are eminently supported by finance and purchase teams led by our Dean Commercial and Finance Professor Ramaratnam and Jayaraman. The Empowered Committee, Finance and Purchase educated me on how to work with constraints and partial information and instilled confidence on an ongoing basis. Professor Ramanathan, Controller of Examinations, keeps reminding me about academic timelines and need for being in synchronization on a continuous basis. I would like to personally thank them all, sir. Sir, our university is 30 years young. We are 6th in all India, 2nd in South India, and 1st in Tamil Nadu in education space as listed under the category called Deemed Universities by the University Grants Commission. We are created by the Ministry of Education 30 years ago to integrate and promote tradition and culture with modern science and technology, emphasizing Sanskrit and Shastras. Sir, post-COVID, when we reviewed our infrastructure, we found a dire need for modernization and upgradation. We therefore embarked on a 3-phase transformation. The first phase was to repair, restore, renovate RQ program, which started in early 2021. The second phase, which will come in shortly, and will focus on upgrading the academic education research ambience based on 3-way integration of our departments through faculty, research, and development. The third phase, which we expect to start 2 to 3 years from now, sometime in 2026, will focus on making SCSVMV a global university. What commenced in 2021 as a humble repair exercise called R-Cube will end close to the end of this decade in 2030 after firmly positioning SCSVMV as a global university of choice of scholars world over. In 2030, we would have regained and established our original status of Gatika Sthanam, for which Kanchipuram is historically known. We, as humble servants of Periva, are on this decade-long journey relying only on the grace and blessings of Periva. The first phase of the transformation took 18 months to reach a level where regular work can go unhindered. It will continue for another 24 months before it is turned over to routine maintenance. R-Cube concept is set well on the groove and progressing rapidly and has to be nourished only financially. The second phase is expected to span 24 to 36 months as the integration complexity is of a higher order. The third phase will bring about substantial integration of faculties and scaling up of research and development. While we do not have a gauge to say how long and how fast, At this point in time, the existing faculty enthusiasm estimates to be a full 5-year run after the second phase completes. That is the reason we predict the completion of transformation to SCSVMV Global to be end of this decade. After all, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam cannot confine itself to Kanchipuram or Tamil Nadu or India. A knowledge powerhouse such as SCSVMV belongs to the globe, a treasure house for 8 to 10 billion human beings across the globe. The champions who have been overseeing the first phase of transformation are Dr. Gunalan, Director of Sports and Athletics, the sports arena, ably assisted by, who created the sports arena, ably assisted by Dr. Vinod Kumar of Electrical and Communication Engineering Department. Both these gentlemen were responsible for the sports arena and substantial handling of the workforce and scheduling itself. During the first phase, SCSVMV transformed and modernized the legendary library building where we are housed right now. It is also SCSVMV icon. Those who had very long association with the university and the MUT enlightened me on various changes that should be made. In this context, I must mention Professor Gullapalli Srinivasu, Registrar, and Professor of Sanskrit with Pandityam in Sahitya, and Dr. Devika, the librarian. Today we have the unique Saswadesirium project, sir, that protects and presents thousands of years of old grunts that are etched in palm leaves. Maharaj visited once in May 2021 and again in February 2022. He blessed that the library should have a traditional wooden staircase, ground up clockwise. We took his Ajna seriously and realized it. Today, while for symmetry it is bidirectional, it will be gated to be clockwise in usage. To a limited extent, we repaired the power distribution infra, water infra, RO infra, sewage disposal infra, etc. Sri Karthikeyan and Sri Mahendran of electrical engineering played a major role in unification, standardization, and rollout. All of you must have noticed the new makeup of the entrance of the university, the main gate, glittering and lighted name board, golden presentation of our acharyas, enhanced cleanliness and symmetry, ever-vigilant modern security and visitor cabins, the facade in the library building, glassworks, decorative masterpieces, Shiva statue in the making, and so on. I must recognize the tireless efforts of Professor K. Venkatramanan, Dean Science, Professor and Head of the Department of Physics, Head of the Department of Education, Director Students and Cultural Affairs and Programs, and Vice Chair of Admissions Committee, who passionately pursues the use of modern material in campus and continuously promotes establishment of high-quality displays and sound systems. I only am scared about this gentleman because the only post that he is not gunning for is that of the Vice Chancellor itself. His remarkable ability in sourcing anything from sensors to systems has helped and is continuing to help SCSVMV significantly. Let us thank him wholeheartedly today and make an unanimous request to him to keep up his good work. Green Team, spearheaded by Professor Jayalakshmi, created the Nandavanam and established the practice of delivering flowers to the MUT on a daily basis for over a year now. Our foray into hostel transformation was slow, calculated, and graduated, as the task was akin to let the sleeping tiger sleep. Don't mess with it. The real meaning of the word daunting hit me straight for the first time. But the more you hear the plight of students, and the more you are moved and you want to do something, bringing the facilities up to date required enormous planning and courage to set out to do it. Two situations and two ideas made a passionate plea for hostel sector transformation. The two situations are the plight of students, the fall in admissions and increase in withdrawals. The result was the resolve to make hostel a living space away from home. The two ideas were addition of capacity in the same land area available for hostels and use of hybrid structures for ease of construction as well as speed of construction without sacrificing the stability, safety, usability, convenience in the structures and the finish associated with living spaces. Of course, the hostel transformation journey is by no means easy or inexpensive. Conceptual design and redesign in structures and interior underwent many changes. As a distinguished visitor pointed out a few months ago, it is easy to build a new building, but it is extremely difficult to modernize an existing one. That too, something built 20, 25 years earlier, when the economic conditions of people, the expectation, and the consequent actions were different. In any case, the transformational change is essential for SCSVMV, and there is no escape, he pointed out. As time progressed, we realized how true his observations were, but the transformation team is confident and is progressing well with the task at hand. I would like to personally thank Lady Wardens Ms. Jaya, Ms. Nalini, and Ms. Selvi, who evince keen interest to ensure the best for their wards in Ladies Hostel, and Professor Santanam and his team, as well as the entire hostel committee, who showed phenomenal enthusiasm and perseverance in making the boys and girls hostel what it is today. While bulk of the food will travel and reach the dining facilities on a food train being designed by the Department of Mechanical Engineering, some items in the menu may be prepared on-site through complete automation. Like all of you, I am also waiting to see the success story of this SCSVMV distributed dining facility, a brainchild of Professor K. Venkatramanan and Professor Gopalaswamy Sriram, and a host of others. One aspect of hostel transformation that attracted my attention to the greatest extent possible was the hybrid structure approach propounded by the Quad. Professor K. Vasu, Professor John Sundarraj, Professor M. Dinesh, and Professor M. Shekhar. I believe he stepped out briefly and is coming back. The approach struck me as bold and astonishing, to say the least. Two basic ideas related to foundation were coupled: pile foundation and reinforced concrete with standardized components and processes, and rafting everywhere. All these words were absolutely Greek and Latin to me at the time. The only other place which seemed to have followed this on a flaky soil was Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Two ideas related to higher structures were the use of iron head sections of steel as necessitated and or enabled by design and or required in the field implementation. The realities will tell us. The conventional reinforced concrete pillars coupled with them. Both were to be interlinked at plinth level across rows of structures and mated with the existing building wherever it is natural and or feasible. At SCSVMV, I found the civil team, that's what we call them while discussing on site, led by Professor Gopalaswamy Sriram, Dean Engineering and Technology, have assembled an excellent set of field workers, laborers, welders, carpenters, contractors, crane operators, pile foundation specialists, and so on, who are capable of standing up to and were willing to address the manpower challenge associated with the large-scale hybrid structures and interior. They have at least 100 patents that are being processed based on their work. SCSVMV is in a continuous journey together with faculty, staff, and students. These are directly visible categories of people. But SCSVMV also works closely with alumni, donors, guest faculty, and visiting faculty. This extended relationship is managed by the team consisting of Messrs. Uma, Hema, Vidya, Vijay Lakshmi, Rajalakshmi, Jay Lakshmi, all Ashtalakshmis, I guess, Shankar Narayan, Uday Shankar, and their colleagues. The extended SCSVMV family is called Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, blessed by His Holiness Acharya Maharaj. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is a big thing that has happened to this university in the recent past. They also manage the monthly homams that are performed on campus. They spread traditional practices, sloka recitals, and run classes to help everyone learn ancient texts such as Bhagavad Gita. With the blessings of His Holiness Acharya Maharaj, SCSVMV will scale new heights in relationship management through nurturing tradition and culture. Sir, a university keeps growing. New faculty is always required for maintaining the dynamic environment, academic environment. Professor Hema Narayan shoulders the responsibility for recruitment under the guidance of Professor Ramaratnam. While we enhance our assets in SCSVMV, we need to ensure the safety and security of the assets. I'm happy to inform you that Dr. Prakasam and Dr. Babu are doing a great job in ensuring the same by managing the security. They work with agility and alacrity. All these people mentioned hitherto delivered a fantastic transformation in a record time of 18 months. I dare say that SCSVMV could not have opened its door for students in September 2022 post-COVID without their involvement, contribution, and achievements. Of course, the journey continues as the first phase of transformation is still going on. Why am I narrating all this to you, sir? About faculty and staff of this great university? I personally believe that a person of your stature, having seen complex operations which are 1,000 times more complex, will appreciate the fundamentals in any transformation process. What we do, how we do, why we do what we do. At SCSVMV, we focus on these. We also look at admissions and academic excellence. Admissions is a periodic quest, and academic excellence is a continuous pursuit. Our Department of Ayurveda, which is operating through the name Sri Jayendra Saraswati Ayurveda College and Hospital for regulatory reasons, is a vibrant entity located in Punamale. They are known for excellent work, not only in the campus, but also for people around. Sir, they made a historical milestone by admitting 60 people of the 60 people that is sanctioned by Government of India. I think this requires appreciation by clapping hands. Recently this year, SCSVMV family is proud of our Ayurveda faculty. We as faculty must have significant number of students around us, not just to teach them, but to be inspired by their quest for knowledge. University needs more inquiring minds, stirring the atmosphere with energy and enthusiasm. While the basic facts associated with subject matter remain the same, the interpretation and the contextual relevance changes will remain a moving target. It is the dynamic environment that we continuously create and manage around us with the help of these young minds that will define our personality and the personality and stature of the university itself. SCSVMV faculty remain committed towards improving the curriculum design, syllabus restructuring, structuring, academic ambience, and research agenda, along with associated research infrastructure. SCSVMV faculty have an aggressive research agenda as their goal. They drive towards producing invigorating talks full of philosophy, science, and technology that are relevant to contemporary civilization and its continuous evolution. Sir, a university, we believe, is not just a brick and mortar. The transformation should include attitude change, owning, teaming with management, and actual delivery of results aligned to the core values of the institution. Social service, yoga, meditation, and regular exercises are essential. It would be appropriate to mention two gentlemen faculty who are contributing and showing the way. They are Dr. Nagarajan of Mathematics, who spearheads the NSS activities, and Dr. Sainathan, the campus doctor, an Ayurvedic specialist who runs free medical camps in the MUT and in Acharya's camps. Their programs and activities are inspiring and worthy of emulation. The newly established yoga club, which we believe will help in overall well-being of our faculty and staff, has already crossed 200 in membership. I am extremely happy to note that the fraternity in SCSVMV is getting totally involved in the transformation process. Healthy mind will definitely lead to a healthy and happy work environment. I would like to place on record our appreciation for Dr. Guru Prasad, Dr. Bindu, Dr. Ashutosh, Dr. Sainath, Mrs. Uma, Mrs. Shivashankari, and Mrs. Bhuma. Sir, I have described to you or tried to describe to you what we are today. Our audience also should know what you are and what are you made of. When you talk about Ajay Kumar in Delhi, everybody will stand up in awe and admiration. He is such a personality. Humbleness to the core, seriousness in action, liberated thought process, and extremely aggressive work culture that defines Dr. Ajay Kumar, as I have seen in the last 15 years. It's not strange because he has a basic engineering degree from one of the finest institutes of India, IIT Kanpur, in electrical engineering, which is a fundamental engineering discipline. And if you don't know economics, and that to applied economics, your knowledge will not be well-rounded for society's use. He did his master's in applied economics from the University of Minnesota and topped it in business administration, PhD from Carlson School of Management in University of Minnesota. He was also the most effective Democrat elected by the administration in 2019. He is a distinguished alumnus of IIT Kanpur. Actually, he is going to join as a distinguished faculty in IIT Kanpur shortly. He has been afforded fellowships, honorary doctorates, and the speeches that he has given, as I have heard in the past, are innumerable and in-depth and deeply inspiring. He is known for his depth of knowledge in technology and his instrument in path-breaking policy formulation in electronics manufacturing. I was a beneficiary of his policy because I happened to be with him while formulating those policies. Mobile manufacturing, and he played a decisive role in Digital India program. You see Digital India everywhere. The defense exports, he was Secretary of Defense Production. It crossed 13,000 crores of rupees in India during his tenure as Secretary Defense Production. When he was Defense Secretary, he was part of launching the newly designed the soldiers' respect that is given in what is called India Gate. That was under his leadership. And the submarine which held the world, they stopped breathing for a second. That happened because of Dr. Ajay Kumar. What he has done to this country is wonderful. He has also designed and helped develop the next generation machinery for defense use. Obviously, such people will hold many positions during their tenure, but when you look at his achievement, the pinnacle of achievement, all those things look very routine. You start from an IAS collector and end up as a secretary to the central government. It happens. There have been so many people, but there is only one Ajay Kumar who delivers. And I've been fortunate in being associated with this gentleman for quite a few years, and we have enjoyed many discussions and deliberations together. Respected Dr. Ajay Kumar Saheb, having narrated what we are and what we are heading, where we are heading, we honestly seek your guidance, sir. Kindly permit us to collectively ask you the following questions. How do we move forward from here as we are? What should be our priorities? What does India need from institutions such as SCSVMV? With these questions, Dr. Ajay, I remain Hara Hara Shankara, Jai Jai Shankara. Jai Hind.
Good afternoon, friends. Pranams to Pujya Sri Shankaracharya Swamiji of the great Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham, Gurubhyo Namah. Most respected Vice Chancellor, Professor S.V. Raghavan, whom for me, he is not only a guru whom I found somewhere in mid-career, but has also been a philosopher, a mentor, a guide, and more than anything else, someone whom I have so many times gone with problems and found solutions to that. And these problems, of course, I have discovered very early that if these are technology problems, there are not too many people in this country who can solve those problems. But even if these problems are not technology problems, Professor Raghavan, in his very characteristic way and his charming, warm and affectionate laugh, he will make it so simple, a complex human problem also, that the solution becomes simple and obvious. And I must say, it is my earnest belief, I have absolutely no doubt that previous vice chancellors of SCSVMV were outstanding personalities, but I do feel that SCSVMV is truly fortunate and blessed to have him as his Vice Chancellor. And the future transformation, the roadmap and the vision which he has painted in front of you, and the culture which he brings, the positivity in that thought process, the inclusivity of all the people who are working in this whole process, and the energy that comes along with it, I have absolutely no doubt that in his transformation journey, in the transformation journey of all of you, there would be success throughout your path. Respected empowered committee members, deans, registrar, members of the academic council, heads of departments, faculty members, staff, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a truly blessed visit. I have, during my long career, had the fortune of visiting practically most parts of India. But somehow, this is my first visit to Kanchipuram. And I believe that you do not visit the city of Lord himself unless he calls you there. And during this visit, I have had the blessings of Lord Shiva. I visited 4 temples. I visited the Kamakshi Amman Kshetram yesterday. One has always, for most believers, it will be a destination. Their life would not be complete unless they visit. I visited Kanchi Shiva Stupa, Shiva temple. Today morning, I had opportunity to visit the Kailashnath Kshetra, and I visited this temple of learning where such wonderful work is going on, which I think is a fantastic culmination of my visit to Kanchipuram. And it has been such an overwhelming experience being since morning to have been part of your journey of transformation. Ably led by Professor Raghavan and supported by the team of committed faculty and staff, and which all of you, like a family, have been contributing and moving forward. And it is this great journey of transformation which has filled me with such tremendous positive feelings when I go back from here. What I wish to share with you today is a similar journey in the area of defense sector. I remember when I joined ministry, I was for several years worked in the area of information technology and electronics in the government, and then government decided to make me Secretary Defense Production in 2017. And before that, I was not so well exposed. When I went to the defense production and the Ministry of Defense, while being aware of it, one of the facts which used to pinch the most was the fact that we had the dubious distinction of being the world's largest importer of arms and ammunition. Something we cannot be proud of. Why it is so, while it is one thing that we were importing, but there are several important implications of when you are importing arms and ammunition, which sometimes we may not recognize. It is not merely about foreign exchange, because when it comes to defense of the country, we don't really mind spending a few dollars here and there. The problem is when I am importing any arm, no country will ever give you the best. They will keep the best for themselves, and they will give you the second or the third best. And therefore, when you are at war, you are not going to get more than one opportunity. In that opportunity, you don't strike, you lose, you die. So if you have the second best, you have possibility of not being able to win in that one opportunity. But it is not only that. In this globalized arms business, there are no friends or foes. If I am buying something from country A, my enemy can also buy the same thing from country A. And no matter what you have bought, as soon as your enemy also buys that, the advantage is neutralized. You may have heard of S-400. Has anyone heard of S-400 missiles, which is the latest missiles system that we have bought? Well, it is a state-of-the-art anti-missile system that we are. But the fact of the matter remains that our northern adversary has also bought the same missile system. So your best missile gets neutralized with the adversary also having the same equipment. Therefore, no matter what you buy, you will always be neutralized. You are never better off than the enemy. There is a third disadvantage which happened when you are dependent on import. We are all aware that we had a significant size of what we used to call defense industry. At one point of time, we had the world's best ordnance factories in this country. Very close to Chennai, you have the Avdi factory unit here. I'm sure all of you are aware of that. It makes tanks. But do you know that when we are actually making these tanks in India, which is based on someone else's technology, we actually have to pay premium to that cost. And if something which is made in that country for 100 rupees, because you are doing make in India here using their technology, it could cost you anything from 125 to 150. Which means if you have 1,000 rupees as your resources, normally you could have bought 10 units of that item, now you can buy only 7. You have to, even when you are making that item in India, there is a cost associated with it which you have to pay. Not only that, every time you have this licensed production, you have another challenge. For example, when Russia made the T-72 tanks in the 70s, we made T-72 tanks in India. And when in 90s they upgraded to T-90, we make T-90 tanks in India, which the technology which they give. And we are still making T-90 tanks, which was developed in 90s. What is the problem? The problem is that there is no technology upgrade in this country because any country or any company which gives you the technology keeps the controlling levers of the technology with them, both intellectually, so there are black boxes which you cannot open, or through contractual agreements, which does not allow you to change or upgrade that technology. And it is every time you want to do the upgrade, they charge a hefty fee, which I explained increases the cost further. And that is how this issue of continuously making the old product even now. It is in this reason, it is in this vicious cycle that we were caught in, that we found ourselves being the biggest importer of arms and equipment. And when you are in such difficulty, you are really not sovereign. And I'm using a very big word. We say our constitution starts with the assumption of sovereignty. But if you are dependent on import of equipment or import of technology, your sovereignty gets in some ways compromised, because the country which is giving you that equipment, the country which is giving you that technology has the ability to constrict you, to restrain you, to stop you from doing certain things. They can exert pressure, they can exert resources constraint, so that you do not fulfill your own agenda of whatever you would want to fulfill. Very often, in defense, we said, why can't we do all these things ourselves? And a lot of people said, no, defense technology is very difficult. The standards are very rigid, difficult to achieve. We have never done it. All through our history, we have dependent, at least independent India's history, we have been dependent on other countries for defense quality standard equipment. Our industry does not have the capability. Our academia does not have the capability to do the research. of that level. But, it is there we thought we need to look at a change system. There is one of the things which I realized after going to Ministry of Defense, and if you look at pre-2017 context, a large part of our defense ecosystem was limited to public sector only. I spoke about ordnance factory boards. There were big behemoths like Hindustan Aeronautics, Bharat Electronics, all doing excellent work in their own right with the mandate to produce based on licensed technology, not recognizing the limitation of using licensed technology. You had Bharat Dynamics, you had shipyards. You have the DRDO, which was responsible for defense R&D and producing new technology, and has a tremendous record in some of the products like missiles and communication radars. But the fact remained that we were still the largest importer in the world after all of this. I have learned one thing, that it is good to depend on resources within the government, but this country is far bigger than government. Country is always far bigger than the government, and in fact, multiple times bigger than the government. And therefore, I decided to go to the people of India, the students of India, the faculty of India, to the industry of India, and said, look, we are today faced with this kind of a dilemma where we are dependent on other countries. There was resistance. They said, how can you go to private industry? I asked the question, when you import from other country, you are not looking whether it is a private industry or a public sector company. In any case, public sector of other country also. How can that be more bothered about India's requirements than an Indian, whether he is a normal citizen or whether he is a company of India as compared to a foreigner? And therefore, we overcome the initial resistance to go out to people. And then one of the most transformating things, several things we did, I will briefly touch, but I want to talk about the program IDEX. I don't know if some of you have heard about IDEX. In IDEX program, have you heard about? Okay. So this was a program which was launched by Honorable Prime Minister in April 2018 in the DEF Expo at Chennai. Did any one of you go to the DEF Expo at Chennai in 2018? Maybe you were too young at that time. And it is a landmark which changed the history of defense industry in this country, the DEF Expo at Chennai. But this program was launched in 2018, and all that the program said, if I have a requirement in defense, I will throw it out open for anyone who thinks who has a solution can come and participate in that effort. Initially, we started with small set of challenges. I think 9 challenges, that is what we launched initially. And the assistance we used to give at that time, maximum assistance was to any challenge was 1.5 crores. Now, I must explain this context of 1.5 crores because in defense, even you don't count change in terms of 1.5 crores. A typical project size is, the least project size is few hundred crores, very often going to few thousand crores. And in this, because we were trying something new, we said we will give only 1.5 crores. My dear friends, first of all, there were questions whether in India anyone will have the capability to do this kind of work. I will give you an example of 100 megapixel camera. We were importing it from Israel. Each camera would cost us anything between 10 to 15 crores. We threw up this challenge. A startup in IIT Delhi, mentored by faculty at IIT Delhi, came forward. In fact, a couple of startups came forward. And this girl called Brinda Sarup, in 12 months flat, something which we have been importing for last several years, in less than 1.5 crores, they gave us the 100 megapixel camera, and the cost of the camera came down to 1/10 of the cost at which we were importing. And then they told us, sir, we can give you a 1 gigapixel camera, 1 gigapixel camera, which so far only US has done in the world. We had another startup, a veteran from Air Force by the name of Samir Joshi, who was working in the area of artificial intelligence and swarming. You all understand what is swarming, swarms, multiple drones working together at Kohish. And the technology which he was developing, the United States Air Force Research Laboratory, which is equivalent of our DRDO, came to us and said, we want to collaborate with him because we do not have that technology in US either. And for the first time, we are working with the US is working with us on a technology. Think of a situation from where we have never ever given technology. We have always been, either importing technology and manufacturing here. Today, US, which is the ultimate destination of technology in the world, comes to us and is today taking technology from an Indian company, Indian startup, and making defense technologies there. The point I wanted to make was, when our people started doing work, it was not second grade work. It was as good as anywhere in the world and better. There is another organization called QNew, who is in quantum computing. They have developed ability to transmit quantum photons over fiber at a distance of 150 kilometers. The best that has been achieved in the world is 90 kilometers. And the implication of that is that for quantum key distribution, the cost at which, today, in the cyber world, we are all worried about security. Quantum computers can break anything in minutes or seconds. They have developed a technology, and all kind of applications are riding over them, that what the best technology in the world can offer, their technology will be 40 to 60% cheaper than that, because they can carry the photon till a distance of 150 kilometers as against 90 in the world. I do not know if you have heard the story of this Bot Lab Dynamics drone show, which we did in Republic Day celebration in 2022. So, because of all the drones and all that is a big buzzword these days, in 2022 we decided we will, in the beating, did any one of you see the drone show and the beating retreat? Anyone here? Okay, this was a very, I'll tell you, so the 1,000 drones making shapes in the sky looks as if, you have painted the sky with, because in the night the drones are lit up and it looks as if a painting has been done on the sky. It looks very fascinating. And we thought to mark the 75 years of independence on Republic Day of 2022, we will do a drone show. And we tied up with, we looked around in the world to do a really impressive drone show. You need about 1,000 drones. And there were only 3 countries in the world who could do this. One was China. We did not want to go to them. The second was US, who said they have still not stabilized their technology and they were not willing to come out of US. And third was Russia. And we requested the Russian to, or we started discussing with the Russians to do this. And then during that time, sometime in September or so of 2021, one startup by the name BotLab Dynamics came to us. And they said, sir, we are doing entertainment drone shows. We have a swarm and give us the opportunity. So I asked them, how many drones do you have in your swarm? They said, we fly about 50 to 60 drones. I said, you're flying 50 to 60 drones? We need 1,000 drones. And it's not, all of you who are in the, since many of you are from the engineering domain and computer science, as sir will tell you, when you grow in numbers, the complexity doesn't increase linearly, it increases exponentially. Because every new drone added means that many more connections and interconnections that have to be dealt with. So going from 60 to 1,000 is not a simple job. They said, no, sir, we can do it. Please do give us a chance and we are a startup, etc. And I also have this, I can tell you several such stories where we encourage these startups. So I said, all right, we'll give you a chance. But since this is going to be in Republic Day, it's a massive national stage. Everyone, President, Prime Minister, everyone is there. By 31st of December, you should show me you are able to do 1,000 drones. Otherwise, we don't take a chance. So all agreed. Then they came back and said, but sir, we don't have money to buy the chips to make those. They were assembling their own drones, but they said we didn't have the money to make those drones. So I spoke to my colleague and friend who was secretary in the Department of Science and Technology, Professor Ashutosh Sharma, whom you know, of course, sir, very well. And he agreed to provide 2 crores to them for making those drones. He agreed to provide, but in government, very often, assurances and money flow are 2 different things. You give the assurance, money never comes. So the money did not come. And remember, we were working on the deadline of 31st December. As fortune would have it, one of those persons in that group, he came about an inheritance. Someone in his family passed away, about 60 lakhs. And he got that 60 lakhs and he said, I will put that into this, take the chance and make these 1,000 drones. So he put that money into the effort. But what happened was in 2021, there was a big shortage of chips, electronic chips. Semiconductors were not available because global shortage. So their usual supplier, he said, I have no chips, I can give you only after 2 years or whatever. And then they started scouting for some other company and no one was willing to give because there was such a shortage. And in the end, they found one small company in Taiwan who said, I will give you the chips, but you have to give 100% advance. Because neither of them knew each other. And taking their fate in their hands, they gave that full money to that new company. They gave the money to that few company and waited, and waited, and chips did not come. And time went by. And we were into, and I was monitoring this because I was on a deadline and it was a show which would, my neck was on the chopper block. By November, when we were losing all hopes, the chips started to flow in. And then they started making. They were making and testing on a real-time basis. So 50 more drones they will make and then try 100 drone swarm and like that. And by 31st of December, they had about 500 drones which they were making and flying. And they said, sir, give us 15 more days, we will make 1,000 drones. And then we were also kind of totally moved into their energy, enthusiasm, and we gave further time. To cut the long story short, they managed to do it within the time or before 26th. And on 29th, the beating retreat day, they did the show, 29th of January 2022. It was an amazingly moving show. After the show, the Honorable President, the Honorable Prime Minister, they individually came and congratulated me as a person who has done it. But to me, the real people who actually deserved it were these youngsters. Look at this, something which only 3 countries in the world have done. These people did it in 2 months. And that is the energy, the power, the capability that we have seen in this country, in this ecosystem. And that is what has given the confidence today to see that our defense industry ecosystem can be truly Atmanirbhar. It can be truly self-reliant. I told you we started with some 9 challenges. We used to do 8, 9 challenges, not knowing what was the capability. But after some time, we have realized that this ecosystem has grown so much and there is so much of capability. We are not anymore constrained by one ordnance factory or one Bharat Electronics or one Mazagon Docks or one DRDO. We have defense technology producers in each university, in each city. In last year, now we are talking of latest and cutting edge. We are not doing things which we were importing. Now we are doing things which no one is doing in the world. And one such example is underwater technology. 2 areas where the world is moving very fast. The domain, the fight in land, air and water is the conventional knowledge. And then the cyber came, and cyber also become very well it's continuously evolving, but still it's become traditional. But 2 new areas where the warfare is moving to, one is underwater and second is space. And capabilities are today in these areas very limited, even in the most developed countries. And instead of doing 5 or 10 challenges in August 2022, the Prime Minister launched 75 challenges at one go, and there was such overwhelming response. All the 75 solutions were engulfed or taken up immediately within 2 months by innovators all across the country. And today they are working on these problems. Again, after August and October 2022, we did 75 challenges for the space. And today those challenges are also in process of being taken over. What we saw was 3 things that IDEX has shown to us. One is that the cost has come down dramatically. Today, whether it is drones, whether it is other technology stuff, when we are using our own people to innovate, what we were spending hundreds of crores and thousands of crores are today getting done in units of crores or tens of crores. What used to, the second part of our defense procurement and equipping the armed forces, it used to take long time. Several of our defense projects have taken 10 years, 15 years, sometimes 20 years to make and develop. Today, these startups are doing in 12 months, 15 months, 20 months, 24 months. The cost has come down to 1/10 to 1/2. The time of development has come down to 1/4 or 1/2. And third great strength is that we do not, today, defense requires solutions in all fields. You could be in computer science, you could be in electrical, you could be in mechanical, you could be in chemical, you could be in textiles. You need solutions in all fields. And you can today give problem statements in large numbers, and you have innovators sprouting from all over the world, all over the country, who are doing this. IDEX has now become one of the world's most washed after program in terms of developing new, because the moment you are developing cutting edge technology, the world is watching you. You are no more within the country. And it has become one of the world's most keenly watched program across the world. Now, this is something giving us the confidence that in coming years, we will have most of our equipment developed in India. And last year, with great amount of confidence and success, we said that 68% of our budget will be spent only through domestic technologies and solutions on domestic industry. No more imports, 68%. We are progressively moving, and I'm sure in coming years that number will increase. But did this transformation, what were the things which made this transformation happen? And I think the most important thing here I want to talk about is the mindset. When I joined in Ministry of Defense, we were to hold the Defense Expo. And we chose that we will hold the Defense Expo in Chennai. And since I am here close to Chennai, I must share this story with you. So I had just joined, very new in Ministry of Defense, and I asked, okay, so what is Defense Expo? I did not know what was Defense Expo. So they came, it's a very big show. The ministry spends about 100 crores on Defense Expo every year. I said, what is it? So they came and made a big presentation. All the big foreign companies come, all Prime Minister goes very often, ministers go, ministries go, officers go, armed chiefs come, several ministers come from other countries, big show. I said, all right. And so I said, all right, but why are we spending 100 crores for this? He said, it's a very big show, it's a national prestige, we are becoming one of the biggest shows. I said, but why are we spending? If someone wants to sell their products to us, why should I spend 100 crores for them to come and show me what he wants to sell? So, for the first time in 2018, I suggested that we should change this and try to give it a Make in India perspective. And I said, no, please change your presentation. Let's give it a Make in India perspective and go back and revise the presentation. And so when secretary says people obey, they went back, and after 1 week they said, sir, we have a revised presentation. And they came back. And lo and behold, they had Make in India written. But in content, it was still the same. The same foreign companies, the same. I said, but he said, we put Make in India. I said, just saying Make in India doesn't matter. What are you doing to promote the Indian industry? Showcase India's capability. So I wouldn't give up. I said, no. You must go back, revise this and come up with something so that you can actually, this whole idea of doing Def Expo should be an effort to promote the Indian industry. They said, sir, there is no Indian industry, very small, not very big, etc. Defense PSUs come, but they are, not so important because they are on foreign technology. I said, no, we must, whatever we have, let us showcase. I sent them back. After 1 week, they came back. And you will not believe it was still the same presentation in content. So then I said, no, this will not do. And for the first time, when we did the Def Expo in Chennai, we changed the organization structure. And we took away from the traditional people who were organizing it. We gave the responsibility for the first time to HAL. And we said, we will bring in something called the India Pavilion in Def Expo. Because there wasn't too much industry, we will showcase whatever is there in India in the terms of Make in India. Fast forward, we had Def Expo 2022 in Gandhinagar in October last year. And in this Def Expo, we took a decision that there will be no foreign company who will come to our Def Expo. And it was the biggest ever exhibition of Def Expo that India has seen. It had so many defense industries and startups showcasing their, and today every state was there who has keen interest in defense industry showcasing this whole product. I started by saying that we were the largest importer in the country. In this whole transformation, as we have started making new and new products, from being the largest importer today, we are among the top 25 exporters in the world of defense products in the world today. And that is the tip of the iceberg, because in defense, in Def Expo 2022, we saw scores of countries who had visited Def Expo saying that we want to today partner with India and get defense equipment from India. Why is that? The major exporters of the world who are there today, they all sell with an agenda. They have their own agenda, I don't want to name. But when India sells defense equipment, it does not sell with an agenda. It is there to help that country fulfill its own security needs without imposing Indian agenda on top of that. We are there to help them meet their requirements. And therefore, in this Def Expo 2022, there was so many countries who met the defense minister, the Raksha Mantri, asking them to see how they could actually, India could actually help them with their defense needs. And India is in process. So the journey of defense exports and becoming defense exporter is just starting. Let me conclude. I think it is the energy of our people, the capability of our people in all forms, whether it is industry, whether it is academia, whether it is startups, whether it is students. I go to various educational institutions, IITs, I'm here, and the kind of amazing work, the kind of amazing transformation that I see in SCSVMV is something which fills with me greater confidence. The only big change that we did in the system were one, and that is something which is started to grow now as a country is the trust in our own capability, which we were lacking. And second, the ease of our regulatory process. Professor Raghavan mentioned how the regulatory process is, you have to work within the constraint. But in the government, what we saw for ourselves, the role was how could you loosen the strings of regulatory process. We did several things in the defense sector to enable, otherwise the industry, the academia, the startups, the other common people cannot really function. So reducing the regulatory burden on them has been the main task which I thought I had while I was working in the defense ministry. But it is the real champions of this change have been champions, as Professor Raghavan was mentioning in his speech, the champions of transformation are the faculty, the students, and each one of you who are the champions of transformation of the university here. I think the real champions of this change have been the people of India, the industry, the startups, the faculty who have worked behind and created new technologies. And with these few words, once again, I'd like to thank the university, Professor Raghavan, Professor Venkatraman, who has taken such good care of me over the last 2 days, and each one of you for a patient hearing. I wish you the very, very, very best, and hopefully, whenever I come here next, I hope to see some of you working for defense as well, because remember, defense of country is no more only the responsibility of a few people in the government. It has been opened up, and each one of you can contribute towards defense of India. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for igniting our spirits. It is true that patriotic spirit, trust in our capability, dedication, and enthusiasm lubricate the country's machinery with a slew of innovative ideas. We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the pain and changes it has undergone to achieve the beauty. At this juncture, our due respects to all the brains and hands that accomplished these defense production indigenously. Now the floor is open for discussion deliberations. So if you have any questions, our chief guest will be answering that. So if you have questions, you can dart it out. So with your permission.
Hello. Good morning, sir. My name is Sri Harsha. I am studying in first year, CSV. Sir, we are, suppose morning when we took our phone, almost all websites and apps are from America and other countries. Do you think we are more, reliable on other countries like Google and other search engines, apps and other things? So our security, like data security and other things, will be compromised. So do you think we also need our own OS or search engines and other apps for this? Sir, should I repeat?
Yeah, so therefore, you are absolutely right. Your question is complete, right?
Yes, sir.
So we have to progressively move away from use of foreign technology. And it is this process that we have now started through IDEX and other programs, which, everyone, who will develop this indigenous technology was the question we are answering. And the answer to that question is that this is not going to be done by government. In fact, 75 years of work only by government shows it cannot be done by government. It has to be done by everyone. Today, each one of us has ability in their respective areas to contribute to the technology, the latest technology in their fields. And it is the industry, the academia, the startups, the people whose work will actually help us move away. What government has done is it has created a policy framework where such efforts are encouraged. And we are now started seeing fruits of it. I must tell you, typically, whereas in the past it used to take 10, 15 years for a new technology to be developed, in 24 months under IDEX, 18 new technologies have started getting inducted into the defense forces. I mean, it is unthinkable. Something which used to take 10, 15 years is getting done in 2 years, 3 years. And that is the kind of fast progress that we are seeing. So it is happening now, slowly.
Sir, what is the major role of youth in defense of India?
I think youth have the most important role. Under the IDEX program, 80% of the people who have come forward are youth. This quantum computing example which I gave, they are youngsters. The Bot Lab Dynamics Swarm show which I gave, there are 4 or 5 boys, still students at IIT Delhi who have done this. So I think today's youth is not like what we were. We were risk averse. I gave you the Bot Lab example because look at this person. He got 60 lakhs in inheritance and he put all that money to a company to develop a 1,000 drone show. Look at his confidence, that he is so confident that he is putting all his money into the one particular project. That is the capability of today's youth, which I don't think my generation, we saw that kind of confidence. We went for jobs, I am not saying that we were less smart, but we went for secure jobs. We went for IAS. We went for other government jobs. Not today's youth. Today's youth goes for, in his own vision, in his own belief, if he thinks something can be done, he pursues that. And sir, I have this, today's youth, when we all graduated from IIT, 80% of my colleagues went to US to pursue what we used to call the American dream. Go to America, realize your dreams there because America gave that opportunity. Today it is changing. Today's youth in India is not going to America. He's staying in India to pursue his Indian dream because India is today giving him that opportunity. And, we saw the largest number of unicorns created in India. And that is what our youth today can do.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, we all know that Russia has always been a friend of us, sir, a dear friend of us. But in the recent past years, aren't we depending more on Russia, sir? We are their second largest consumer of military goods, and they are our largest supplier of goods, sir. And we have also promised them many tech parks also, sir. Smart city. Delhi, Mumbai smart city, we have promised them that we will be using their technology and having their support from them, sir. Don't you think that this is an, though we call it a mutual relationship with Russia, sir, don't you think that they have a stronghold over us, sir? What is your point in this, sir? Sir, in the Sir, in the last, Russia has always been our dear friend, sir. We know that for the many years, sir. But my point of view is that we are depending more on them, sir. We are their, we are their second largest giver for the military goods, and they are our largest supplier, sir. In the recent years, we have also promised them that they'll be collaborating with us in the smart city build, no, sir. Means Delhi, Mumbai smart city, total smart city, which connects both the cities in all the ways. Means railways, roadways, and all the ways, sir. Means I am thinking that we are depending more on them. They have been, though we call it a mutual relationship, aren't they having a strong hold on us? I must
Which country are
say,
you talking about?
sir.
Which
Sir,
dependent on whom?
Russia.
Russia. Okay.
Do you think that it is an positive relationship, sir? Means, are we having any advantage? I think that they are having a strong hold on us, sir. Means in the recent years only, due to this war only, we are exporting many things to them, sir.
So, you raise a very important point. There was a period in which we have been sourcing, importing a lot of equipment and technology from Russia. And that was important because, you see, one more very important aspect of defense is that once you start depending on a country for your defense technologies, you actually are in some way aligned with them for strategic reasons, because you cannot get away easily. And for 60, 70 years, we were dependent on Russia. Practically 95% of our defense inventory was from Russia, 95%. Even today, 70% of our inventory is from Russia. But as you have pointed out, such large-scale dependence is not in fact, my point is, any dependence is not a good idea. We should become Atmanirbhar, we should be self-reliant. But dependence on one country can really reduce your options. And therefore, a few decades back, India took a conscious decision to diversify. We continue to have excellent relationship with Russia, but at the same time, if you look at the last 2 years, we have also procured, imported equipment from US and Europe, and that has been the trend in the last 2 decades or so. But present trend, like I mentioned, is now, as far as possible, we do not import. And this year we said 68%, like I said, of our budget goes only for domestic and only less than 1/3 for imported. And in the coming years, hopefully even less it will happen. So one answer to your question is, yes, we need to diversify, and that has started for the last 2 or 3 decades. Second, now our present approach is, no, we should make it in India. We should make the technology in India, make the equipment in India. It will be our own equipment.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, can you explain us about the opportunities that are present in DRDO and such organizations, which leans more towards creation rather than destruction, unlike arms development and cyber security, especially for us students of computer science discipline?
So there are a large number of, in fact, DRDO is supporting several activities. They are supporting PhD students. They are giving projects for various specific technology developments. They are also taking research fellows in their universities. They give aid for specific projects as well. And then also now they are working a lot with the industry to develop new technologies. So I think there are Then there is also, if you are a startup, they have a funding for the startups also, where they promote startups as well. So there are multiple support programs which DRDO is doing, depending on what is the nature of activity that you want to do, it can be accordingly aligned.
Sir, we are not much aware of those things, sir. So,
Most of them are available on the website. Otherwise, what I would suggest is that the faculty should get in touch with DRDO, and the CVRDs here, maybe that would be a good starting point to understand what all can be done, and that could help to get the details. But many of these things are available on their website also.
sir, what about the knowledge one has to have, like the prerequisites one has to have to acquire a position or a post in DRDO, sir?
Sorry.
Sir, the prerequisites, sir.
What is there?
Prerequisites, like the requirements one has to satisfy in order to join organizations such as DRDO. The knowledge one has to have.
Yeah, it's a requirement of a scientist. There is no, as far as I know, and I may not be the best person, you should ask someone who's actually involved with in the DRDO. But you want to
See, the DRDO position started Scientist C. Yeah, Scientist C. That's a entry level. So you have to look for the ad which comes periodically, appear for the exam, interview, whatever, get selected, and then there is a periodic review and promotion, and you can become some C to D, G, E, F, G, H and all that. When you become Scientist H, you are a big person in DRDO, running a lab or a huge lab. Their budgets run into several thousand crores. By the time you reach there, it will be about 20 years. Just to enter, you have to know your fundamentals right. Supposing you want to go and work in, let's say, CARE. You are a computer science guy?
Yes, sir.
CARE. So they will expect you to know all fundamentals in computer science. So if you go there and then say, I know how to do, what is that, programming? Normal programming these days, they say some fancy names, they keep coming every 6 months, I forget. That doesn't take you anywhere. Learning the fundamentals is very important if you want to succeed in any interview.
Okay, sir.
There is nothing beyond electromagnetic spectrum. There is nothing beyond your understanding of simple mathematics. If you do these two, you will rule the world.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
all you have to do. Problem is, you don't do any of this. You want to see how that man went there. He struggled and went to the top of the mountain. You want to know how he got there, rather than saying, let me start and go there. You will never do that. So just read the books properly. If you know signals and systems, if you know the electromagnetic spectrum, if you know how to compute, not computer science, you must know how to compute, how to organize your thoughts, how to communicate, how to engineer, how to think systematically, how to be cost effective. Nobody can teach you all this. There is no subject, there is no book. So you should do what that man standing there, Adi Shankara, told about education. The only thing he said was nididhyasam. Whatever you hear, whatever you read, let people say anything. But you internalize, understand, personalize it for yourself. You will be a different person. Everybody will want you. That is why the statue is there. Have you ever thought why he is standing there? He is there to protect you. He is there to tell you. Have you done nididhyasam today? He is asking. You are not listening. Huh? You are looking at somebody else. He is right there. He is telling you. Poor person. He wrote so much and then condensed it into one word, Nijidhyas. Srinivasu, correct? Naveen? Is that correct or not? Nijidhyasam is the only way you want to learn anything. Take any subject and have these types of questions and dialogues in the department weekly. Ask these questions to your friends. Don't fight. Don't argue. Discuss. Deliberate. You will see a whole new world that you haven't seen. You are just seeing tables and chairs. All these are routine things. There is no understanding. Sherlock Holmes said long back, you see but you don't observe. That is where you start failing. You know the biggest asset of an Indian today, which you should avoid? The ignorance about his capability. That's the biggest asset everybody has. Ignorance about one's own capability. That ignorance you remove. That comes only by repeated questioning in your mind, not reading a book. Sit in a corner, mull over it. If you are given one ice cream, you want a second ice cream. If you are taught one course, or do you want a second course? No. You want to escape. This is the problem. So solve that problem, you will be different and everything will look different to you automatically. Why become only a scientist? You become DRDO chief and run it. Why are you starting so small?
Sir, we need a starting point for everything, no, sir. Like we
You
can't go.
You need confidence, you need to study, you need to think, you need to do repeated inquiry about things yourself and ask people. Somebody will answer you, somebody will not answer you. But that's okay, it's all part of the game. The best part of education is that a man gives to himself. Nobody can educate you. I can't make you learn unless you choose to learn. I will create an atmosphere around it. That's all. You can't blame a poor teacher, professor, assistant professor, associate, whatever you want to call them. Grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can have any attachment. That doesn't mean anything. They can only say that moon is up there. You feel the beauty of the moon, you have to be a poet. Nobody can inject something and then say now you are a poet. No way. You are a new person every 27 days. Your cells are rejuvenated. You are not the same person. Mark the date today, 27 days later, you are a different person. And that transformation is under your control. Why are you not using it? You didn't even know that it is possible, that you can change in 27 days. That is what is it. Remove that ignorance about your own capabilities. Indians are best at it. Stop running to those little things called mobile phones. And then look at what others are doing. What are you doing? You want to become a scientist, right?
Yes, sir.
So you have to know what you're doing. Why are you looking at Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, whatever? Why are you admiring other things like WhatsApp? I make American calls. Why don't you understand how calls are made? How can you help others make calls? Turn the problem upside down. That's what he is saying. That's what he has done successfully. Atmanirbhar is only that. Discover one's own self. Our Prime Minister Modi is a maverick. He is just trying to tell everybody that. If we say you are a capable individual, capable Indian, and you can transform and help others, is it wrong? When you have that capacity, realize that capacity, that's it. From today you will do it. Just stand in front of that gentleman there, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. Just look at him. Some 70, 80 feet tall. Just look at, don't do anything, just look at him. By in 32 years, how did you write 100 books? Ask him. He didn't live long. How did he do it? How do you write a sentence in any language that will live for thousands of years? He did it. And he's standing there. Go and stand 5 minutes. In the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. Just look at him. You will change. 27 days. Promise. Pinky promise.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. So my question is that how far do you think the progress of defense system is in India compared to other countries, especially US, since it is developed and independent country?
Some echo going on. Echo is there.
Sir, how far do you think the progress of defense system is in India compared to other countries, especially US, since it is a developed and independent country?
I think we are making a lot of progress. We have still a lot of gaps to fill up, which have been created over the last 100 years. But the speed at which we are able to create new technologies now gives up hope that in the next 10 to 20 years, we will become largely Atmanirbhar in all aspects. And when we say Atmanirbhar, it does not mean you have to produce everything in India. What is important is that you are not dependent on any critical technology or equipment. And whatever you are not doing, it is something which is available off the shelf from multiple suppliers. Then why should I bother? I can always buy something. There is no one is able to put a ransom on that it I will not give it to you. As long as you reach that level, you are Atmanirbhar. So yes, today we are reasonably confident that we are moving in the direction that next 1 or 2 decades we should be largely. There are 3 big gap areas which we are still weak. One is engine technology. We are still largely dependent on import on all kind of engines. Second is semiconductors, and third is materials. In broad sense, these are 3 big areas, gaps which we have to bridge. And I think next 10 to 15, 20 years, we should see these gaps getting bridged.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Sujit Sandelia. I'm studying in first year CSE. My question is, in cyber security and cyber defense, in which place India is standing, and what are the steps to improve our country to become the most rated?
There is no better person than him to answer that question.
See, for the first time in 2011, we made in India what is called a cyber security architecture. An architecture is something that you deal with empty space. You will be able to see it, others won't be able to see it. That's an architect. You show him a marshy land, he will see a palace there. That's an architect. So So the first cybersecurity architecture, which is multidisciplinary, multi-departmental, was articulated in 2011. That was a one-year-long exercise. Okay, when you deal in a large democracy, you are dealing with people with various levels of exposure, knowledge exposure, and expectations and domain control, what's called turf war. You have to transcend all that and create a policy framework, which has been done. Then you have to realize it. When you issue it out, there is an action space in which technology plays a role. So what is the technology perception today? Network should always be available.
Yes.
The entire electronic space should be my personal assistant 24/7. These are all human perceptions. You can't change them. Whatever I want in the world should be available in my fingertips. Whatever I do should be secretive. You decide. Apne aap, you decide. And you expect it to happen. And where are you? You are in a commercial space. And what do? Prepaid, small data pack, which is worth nothing. And what will you get in return? No service. This is how the security will look like from the individual side. There is a user perception. There is a owner perception. There is a provider's perception. There is an enterprise perception. So multiple factors are in play. Till today in the world, they haven't resolved where does the liability rest. You transfer a GPay and it doesn't come back. Your money is gone. Who is responsible? You? The bank? Google? Everybody will say, I am an enabler. Nobody will say, I am the responsible person for your transaction. Did you pay anybody for the transfer? No. How do you expect a service without paying? So where is this God there? So this is that space people are trying to grapple and bring some sense into it. And suddenly somebody comes and takes away maybe data, maybe money, maybe something. Whatever is tangible, they'll take and run away. Then again you start shouting. Barbad ho gaya. So it doesn't, nothing happens. But then your expectation of something which you can't describe, how can somebody fulfill that description as a product or service? This is the first question you should ask if you are doing computer science, network, whatever. What are you studying here?
Computer science.
Huh?
Computer science.
What is it?
CSE.
Computer science. Which year?
First year, sir.
Long way to go.
Yes, sir.
It's good that you started asking these questions. And don't leave this gentleman sitting there. He is your HOD. Catch him. And tell him that you want to do this in the lab. That it's all safe. Get hold of this financial person, the administrative commercial dean. Tell him that 10 of you want to transform the campus electronically. You learn. Who is preventing you?
I will start.
Where is that the second Karthikeyan? Raise your hand wherever you are. Second Karthikeyan, not this. I don't see him around. He is the one who will provide connections. There he is. Catch him.
Okay.
You go behind him. Whenever you don't have a class, go behind him. Find out the problem space.
Yes, sir.
It is such a large and complex situation that you don't have to pity him, but you understand what he is doing. He is working with a very simple resource. And all of you are capable of providing answers. And he has 15 of that little thing. What is it called? Huh? Raspberry Pi. He has 15 of them. Catch him.
Okay.
Use it to do all your experiments. then only you will know.
Yes, sir. I will start.
If you can transfer a file consistently, repeatedly, at the highest possible speed between two Raspberry Pis, then come and talk to me. By the time you will be in your 4th year. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, as you know, recently our Honorable PM inaugurated the HAL manufacture factory, helicopter manufacture factory. Sir, the doubt is, are they going to manufacture every part which is made in India, or some parts are which are going to buy from outside the country? Sir, are they going to make every part of the helicopter which is going to made in India, or some part from other countries?
So our effort is to make everything in India, but sometimes that is not possible. So today, in any typical platform, what is made in India is about 30 to 40%, sometimes 50%. Rest is imported. Rest is buy.
Sir, already our country's debt is more, sir. Already our country's debt is more. It became more debt. Debt, sir.
See, there is a brainwashing that is going on in the world called the developing countries and developed countries. You listen to the External Affairs Minister Jay Shankar and his interactions with the world. It's very important that all youngsters listen to Jay Shankar. There is something called a narrative that is there embedded in everybody's mind. There is something called a doctrine. India has no place in any of those. India never had a place in any of those. Today, India has a larger than life-size place in all of those. All this has happened in the last 4 years. And these questions that you are asking are becoming progressively insignificant. But that mental makeup remains in majority of Indians, which has to go away slowly. The confidence comes when you see things happen around you and it personally benefits you. When that starts happening, I also have an iPhone, Apple phone. It costs a lot of money. I buy equipment worth 1.5 lakhs all the time. Every 3 years I change. But when India makes it and you are able to buy it, then you will feel the difference. That takes time. That is why we don't call it change. We don't call it doing something. We call it transformation. Which course are you studying here?
IT, sir. IT.
IT. Somewhere they will teach you some control system and all that, state changes and so on. Some state changes, somebody will teach you, either in math or in some engineering subject, they will teach you what is the time it takes for a transformation. Because everything is in a state and it has to transform. You want to become a bodybuilder?
No, sir.
No? You don't want to look nice? You have the face cut of Salman Khan. You just have to reduce your weight a little bit and increase your muscle strength. That's all you have to do. That is transformation. Enormous effort is involved. So you will be given the face cut of Salman Khan. So you will be able to do it. And you have the goal, Salman Khan. All you have to do is to take that effort. You will be Salman Khan tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, actually my question is regarding social awareness, sir.
Huh?
Social awareness, sir.
What awareness? Which awareness?
Regarding this global warming is main issue of this present situation is global warming is main cause, sir. Regarding that, I need to.
Global warming. I am not an expert, so I can't answer. He is the distinguished guest. So,
But, so, no, what is the question?
No, sir. Day by day, they are saying that we are upgrading and updating. But
I can't hear.
they are only seeing the one side of the country. They are not seeing the main part of the country.
Clear. What?
Okay. So, sir, day by day, we are saying that we are upgrading, and we are
when
building.
when you make something, there is something called an opinion that you may have. You have a right to have an opinion, but you will have a doubt, which you ask as a question. So, for a given environment like this, what is the question that you have?
Okay, sir. Once. They are saying that we are upgrading and updating, and we are building factories, and we are industrialization is going very so much fast. But we are seeing only the half of the part of the country, and we are polluting. I mean, by building those factories and so much upgrading.
That is an observation. What is the question?
So what's your idea about this, sir? Is there any main to avoid that global warming?
So, your fear is progressive and fast industrialization will lead to global warming and disaster. Why are we doing it? Is the question.
Any suggestions or any inventions to stop that, to reduce, it can't be stopped, to reduce that global warming?
Well, this is not directly related to today's discussion, but this is a very big question that is existing in the world today. Who is polluting and who pays? The fact of the matter is that if you look at it, the per capita pollution by developed countries is significantly more, but the effort of the world today is to put restriction on countries which are now seeing development on them, like India, China, and other developed Asia as a whole. Whereas West is already developed, continues to pollute to a large extent, but they don't want to have these restrictions. And this discussion has been going on for last few decades. Now, of course, the climate change is becoming, global warming is becoming a reality, whether it is developed world or developing world. And especially those countries which are close to the coastal areas, small countries, small islands are really threatened. In a major shift in approach today, India has taken leadership as part of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We are not saying, all right, just because you have polluted, we will also pollute now, which used to be our stand earlier. We are behaving as a responsible and a model country in the world today with respect to climate change, India. And the responsibilities which India has taken in the last COP meeting, there is a UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, in which these matters are discussed at great depth. And the obligations which India has taken on itself have actually become a model for a lot of developed countries also. That is point number one. Second is, look, where is India taking the leadership? In the last few years, we have done several things. One of them is the International Solar Alliance. You know the International Solar Alliance, which was created by India, and today over 100 countries are member of it. The target is to create 1,000 gigawatt of solar energy by 2030. Roughly 15% of the global energy consumption will go away from fossil fuels to renewable energy, reduce climate effect. We have created Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, a UN body. Today we are seeing earthquake in Turkey and Syria. and India has been one of the first countries to go and provide relief. Coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure, so that if any kind of climate related or other disasters affect, what should be the new infrastructure, what should be the financing of that infrastructure. That is again the leadership in this global body has been taken by India in 2019. And very recently, I don't know if you read this or aware of it, is the LIFE program, LIFE, LIFE. The Secretary General of UN came recently to India and launched this program. It is called Lifestyle for Environment. We can all, people of the world, can contribute to protecting environment. If we use a sheet of paper, are we making sure that we are using both sides so that you use less paper? If we are using electricity somewhere, no one is there, do we switch off the fan or the light so that electricity is not wasted, and so forth. So stop using plastics, single-use plastic in daily life. So many of our daily lifestyle changes can create a global impact on how we consume resources. It's a program has been called LIFE, LIFE, Lifestyle for Environment, which has again been launched by India. The point I'm making is this debate of who pollutes, who pays is over now. India is actually taking global leadership in climate change, and therefore we can actually walk with our heads held high when it comes to how we are playing our role in the world to protect the environment and improve climate change.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Surya and I'm from second year CSE. So my question is, we all know in defense, technologically, cyber security sector is helping for defense. So as we are on the way to pursue AI/ML sector in CSC, is there any possible ways that we can support defense in future?
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. That is exactly, today we have opened up defense problems to academia, to startups, to youngsters. And one of the very easy ways is to start participating in these challenges and contributing to it. And AI ML is today something which there is tremendous amount of application within the armed forces, and you can definitely participate in it.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is, some of your advice for the upcoming youth UPSC CSE aspirants, sir. Some of your advices for UPSC and CSP aspirants.
I answered that question. See, youth can play a very important role. A whole lot of work that is going on in innovation are actually youth-led. You can do it as part of your project in the university. You can do it as part of a startup. You can do it as part of industry after you graduate and join the industry. You can do it as part of graduate. And youth has tremendous amount of opportunity in doing this. I answered that question earlier when it was asked also.
About UPSC and CSE aspirants, sir.
UPSC?
And CSE aspirants, civil service aspirants.
Yes, UPSC and computer science aspirants for UPSC. What is your advice?
Yeah, no, I think UPSC, I think what sir says is very right. You have to study hard. I think it doesn't matter what subject. Whichever subject you take, just study hard. Know your syllabus, study hard. And then that's, you should be able to make it.
Sir, your success mantra, sir.
I think work hard. That has been, if you ask my success mantra, work hard and be positive. These are the only two things which I have worked on.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
May I now request our Chief Guest, Dr. Ajay Kumar IAS, former Defence Secretary, Government of India, to present the certificates and medals to the students who have excelled in sports. Please, sir. Let me call upon Mr. J. Magheshwar of 3rd BCom, who has qualified for the All India University Championship to be held in February 2023, securing the 13th place in discus throw in the Southwest Zone Athletics Championship 2022-23 to receive the certificates and medals from our esteemed chief guest. Let me invite Mr. S. Karthikeyan of 1st BCom, who has won the gold medal in 100 meters dash and 200 meters sprint in Kanchipuram District Junior Athletics Championship, organized by Sports Club of Tambaram in October 2022. He represented Tamil Nadu and has won the gold medal in 1000 meters sprint medley in the 37th National Junior Athletics Championship in November 22. Congratulations. Good round of applause, please. So let us welcome Mr. S. Kritik, second professional Bachelor of Ayurvedic Medicine Surgery, Department of Ayurveda, for participating in the Republic Day NSS Parade Camp organized by NSS State Office on the occasion of 74th Republic Day on 26 January 2023. Let me invite the Kabaddi team of SCSVMV, which has secured the 4th place in state open meet level held at Salem and the 2nd place in the district level open meet held at Kadalur. Let us put our hands together for the volleyball team, which has won the 2nd place in the state level open meet held at Arakonam and the 1st place in the state level open meet held at Kalpakam. Now we have on stage the volleyball team of SCSVMV, which has won the 2nd place in the state level open meet and the 1st place in state level open meet held at Kalpakam. Let me invite Dr. Bindu from Department of English to announce the winners of the competitions held in connection with the National Youth Festival.
Good afternoon to all. The National Youth Day is celebrated every year in India on 12th January to commemorate the birth anniversary of Indian philosopher Swami Vivekananda. In connection with the 39th National Youth Day celebration, our university conducted various events like essay writing, elocution, painting, and pencil drawing. More than 100 students participated in all the events from various departments. Now we call upon the winners to receive their certificate with prizes from our Honorable Chief Guest. Essay writing in English on youth power, the winners are Kanchi Botla Sai Priya from 1st BAMS. R. Batmashri, 3rd BSc Chemistry. Essay writing in Sanskrit on Vikshit Yuva, Vikshit Bharat. Hiranmayi Sriram, 1st BA Sanskrit. Elocution in English. Role of youth in nation building, 1 by 3 students. Anisha Gupta, 1st BAMS. V.R. Raghavi, 3rd BSc Physics. K. Baladitya, 2nd BBA. Elocution in Tamil, தேசிய வளர்ச்சியில் இளைஞர்களின் பங்கு. P. Pavitra, 2nd MSc Chemistry. R. Sailesh, 2nd BCom Honors. Elocution in Sanskrit, Dolamani Bishi, 2nd MA Sanskrit. Painting and pencil drawing, Trinare Selvi from 2nd BA MS. Niveta, 1st BA MS. J. Pavitra, 2nd MCom. Thank you.
A profound thanks to our chief guest, Dr. Ajay Kumar, for his thought-provoking address and his patient answering of our questions, of our students' questions. So we come to the end of the session. Let us pay our respects to our motherland by singing the national anthem together. So let us rise up for the national anthem.